Okay. Mama, kan ek nie sê nie. Now, I took pains, I tell you, to find appropriate pictures to introduce the poems on these PowerPoints and also as backdrops as we break the poems down. So indulge me and yourselves and tell me from what you can remember of the poems why I chose this picture to introduce this poem. I don't mind if you tell me in English. So let's just do a bit of visual literacy practice while we're at it. With visual literacy, because that's also in paper 1, English and Afrikaans, assume that I am not, I know I just said I found this picture, but assume that I cannot see the picture and assume that I think that you look at a picture and you don't even know what it is. So tell me, the picture is of, and it shows this, and then connect it to the poem. Can you do that? Give it a bash. Okay, so we see two women who are assumed to be a mother and daughter, an older woman and a daughter. They cannot look at each other. They're not looking at each other. What about their body language implies that it's not just, you said they cannot look at each other, which is different from they're not looking at each other. It's not like one's looking out the window and the other one's looking at a child. Tell me about their body language. Arms is gevou, yeah, yes. If you're saying upset and frustrated, English or Afrikaans visual literacy, you need to tell me what about her face shows that she looks upset or frustrated. Say frowns, she's frowning. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you can also see she's turning her body away and her leg is crossed over the other one, closing off from her daughter. And what about the daughter? Aiton, I want you to talk to the daughter's liggaamstaal, her body language in this picture. In English, it's fine.
Facing away from her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And like leaning her like head on her arm, on her hand.
To suggest what?
That she is like mad at the mom.
Mm-hmm. What else makes you think she might be mad with her mom?
Yeah, her face is like angry. Not angry, but like...
Well, we can say she's staring intently and there's some neck tension going on. The neck tension. Oh, they both got a lot of neck tension. It's obviously genetic. Sitting uncomfortably close to each other. Okay. Oh, and how does that relate to this poem? You wanted to answer that. Okay, let's hear. So the last 3 lines, when you as jy my na my kyk, is ek nie in jou oë nie. So when you look at me, I'm not in your eyes. What else? What is the main thema van die gedig, Sky?
Dit is daar is 'n swak verhouding met 'n ma en 'n dogter.
Cool. 'n Swak verhouding. En hoekom is daar 'n swak verhouding?
Die ma wil nie van die dogter nie.
Wil nie van die dogter nie. Wil die dogter hê nie. The mother didn't even want to get pregnant, right? You said the mother doesn't want from the daughter.
Oh.
Wil nie van die dogter nie. Wil
Van die dogter nie.
Maar altyd wil nooit nie hierdie kind gehad of wil nooit nie 'n kind hê nie of hierdie kind, hierdie dogter hê nie. Okay, and a little bit of background when I've read interviews about from Jellica Weringa, she is a she's fully woo. She's probably divine to chat to in that, but she's very, very spiritual, and she does believe, she genuinely as a poet believes that she has psychic abilities and pre-birth memories and things. Mama, kan ek nie sê nie. I'm going to read it English, Afrikaans, and then we're going to look at it structurally and then meaningfully and try some questions. Okay. Mama, kan ek nie sê nie. Ek onthou die engel het my van die rand van wik en weeg afgeskop in jou in. Onmoontlik, sê hulle, om te weet van voortydse tyd. Maar ek het geweet wat ek nou weet. As jy na my kyk, is ek nie in jou oë nie. In English, Mama, I can't say. I remember the angel saved me from the edge of weighing and uncertainty, kicked me down into you. Impossible, they said, actually not this, to say that possible, they said, to know things before the birth of time, before your birth, or before time's time, right? But I knew then what I know now. When you look at me, I'm not in your eyes. Okay, here's the engel. And I chose deliberately a very, very kind of warlike, violent-looking angel that sculpted her in. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versreëls. Vrye vers, die ongemaklikheid en die onsekerheid van hulle verhouding is relationship. Know the word verhouding, relationship. She's not saying moeder kan ek nie sê nie of ma kan ek nie sê nie. Hey? She's not saying I can't call you mother. I can't call you mama, mommy. Die woord mama is 'n liefdeswoord of 'n troetelnaam. Troetelnaam. Think of a troeteldier, that's a pet. It's a pet name. It's a very loving, sweet name. Dit wys liefde vir jou ma. Jy ook respek aan. It's a very, very loving term. So, in die titel sien ons alreeds dat die spreker verwyte teen haar ma het. Min liefde en miskien min respek vir haar ma. Hoekom is dit in aanhalingstekens, dink jy? Why is it in quotation marks, do you think? Wat bedoel jy dat nie die geval is nie? So die ma is nie wat 'n mamma moet wees nie, maar ek dink in hierdie geval, dis die direkte woorde van die spreker, maar dit wys dat sy gebruik nie die woord nie.
So she does it, wys sy nie gebruik.
So she's saying, this is the word I cannot use. This is the word I'm not saying. So it's showing that I never ever use this word to my mother. Dis die woord wat die spreker nie teenoor haar ma kan gebruik nie. This particular word she can never use. Kom ons na die rym en struktuur kyk. Vrye vers, geen rym of formele struktuur nie. En die afwesigheid, the absence van rym en struktuur, versterk, strengthens die idee dat liefde afwesig is. In more simple language, daar is geen rym en struktuur, want daar is geen liefde tussen die ma en die kind. En dit bring ons aan die tema, en die tema is die afwesigheid van moederliefde is hartseer. The absence of motherly love is sad, is painful. Die tema, as 'n mens nie moederliefde het nie, voel jy hartseer. If you can't remember the word afwesigheid. Ek onthou, dis 'n ek-spreker. And when you write ek-spreker, it's hyphenated, eh? Probably a tiener. Again, because in your Afrikaans poetry selection, there's a lot about the challenges and the pain van tiener wees. Well, it's about a mother and a son. So let's see it. So yes, yeah. Daar's 'n tema met al jou gedigte. And be grateful for that, because it means it keeps your lexicon of words, jou woordeskat. You can use your explanations and your terminology from one poem to the other, right? Dit versterk of dit beklemtoon die chaotiese binnewêreld van tienerwees in hierdie geval beklemtoon dit hoe hartseer dit is om sonder moederliefde te leef. Ek onthou, okay. Die spreker sê dat haar ma wou nie swanger wees nie. Swanger, pregnant. If you can't remember the word swanger, say a baba hen. But really try for this word for this poem to have the word swanger as part of your learned vocabulary, right? Die engel het ingegryp, the angel intervened, en die swangerskap is voltooi en kind is gebore. So there is a sense that it's definitely an unwanted pregnancy, and perhaps this Vik en Weeg, okay, the angel of like, don't I keep the baby? It might have been a choice of accidentally or unwanted. It could be a rape, it could be whatever it is. And maybe the spreker doesn't even know the omstandighede or the circumstances of her mom getting pregnant, but certainly knows and remembers that her mother didn't want the pregnancy and either perhaps tried to end it and it was an unsuccessful abortion, or certainly weighed up, am I going to keep it? Am I not going to keep it? And the fact that it was an engel afgeskop in jou, the angel kicked it. I mean, that's a violent action, right? It's not gently placed me in your womb. Kicked me into you feels like there's some kind of, well, definitely, it doesn't just feel like it certainly shows divine intervention, that despite what the mother wanted or even might have tried to do, she got pregnant. En die kind is gebore. Daardie woord afgeskop, baie sterk, direkte, violence is geweld. So dit's 'n gewelddadige aksie. You will know the word violence. Gewelddadige aksie. Afgeskop. En afgeskop. Kicked down. Kicked down. Dit wys dat die baba van die hemele afkom. Wys is that the baby's coming from heaven and the angels. En ek dink dit wys ook die skop van die fetus. The little kick of the baby. And the mother, oh, it's kicking now. No, I've got to keep it. Rand van Wik en Weeg. That suggests huiver, twyfel, doubt. And it also suggests that the mother either considered or tried abortion. That either didn't work or she thought about it and couldn't go through with it. Dis onmoontlik, sê hulle. The word onmoontlik. Who are the hulle that said onmoontlik? Onmoontlik om te weet van voortyd se voortyd. People like doctors, vriende, ouers. There's no proof that a fetus can understand anything they say, okay? It's impossible to know. Daar's geen bewyse dat 'n fetus, F-E-T-U-S, spelled the same way, iets kan onthou. Want die spreker voel dat sy al voor haar geboorte geweet het dat haar ma haar nie lief het nie. The speaker feels that already before her birth, she felt and knew that her mother didn't want her and didn't love her. I also think that this onmoontlik, impossible, might also connect the fact that the baby's still alive. Impossible, after what you just tried to do to it, perhaps. It's like, no, it's kicking in me. I thought, or maybe I really didn't want to fall pregnant. I was on the pill, we used birth control, everything. Like, now look, guess what, I'm 5 months pregnant. Impossible. This is going to give all of you, particularly the girls, pause. When I was doing my teaching prac, 1990, doing my HTE, I know, I don't have to make that face, I know. But there was a woman at it's now Ridge Park College, right? That found out, she was married, she had kids. She discovered that she was 6 months pregnant. Because she was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm feeling lethargic. I'm feeling tired. I'm putting on weight. I don't know what's going on. I know, how terrifying is that? Look at the voorplasing van onmoontlik. So they didn't say hulle het onmoontlik gesê of hulle sê onmoontlik. Dis voorplasing. They put the word in front, onmoontlik. En dit beklemtoon die sterk onwaarskynlikheid. The strong improbability, right? That the child would know about her mother's love, dat die kind weet wat haar van haar ma se liefde. Voortydse tyd verwys na die tyd voordat 'n kind gebore word. En dalk ook voor die bevrugting, before the conception. Befruiting. Maar ek het geweet, dis maar. What do we call this maar? What happens in the poem when you see a maar? A but, or or oh, or however. In English, we call it the volte or the turn. In Afrikaans noem ons dit die wending. Wending, W-E-N-D-I-N-G, wending, die wending. Die maar they on the wending. It's a turn in the page. Because this is what happened and everyone said it was impossible, but I knew then that what I know now. Die kind sê sy het geweet. Sy is ongewens. Ongewens means unwanted. En nou het ons 'n dubbel punt wat ons aandag, dit trek ons aandag aan. En sê ons moet aandag gee aan wat volg. En wat volg is 'n verduideliking. The colon draws our attention to and says we must pay attention to what follows. And what follows is an explanation of how she knows and why she knows she was right and always was right. Want sy sien nie liefde in haar ma se oë nie. Jy is die ma. As jy na my kyk, my is die kind, die spreker. En die kind kan haar ma se emosies in haar ma se oë lees. She can read her mother's emotions in her eyes. En dis hartseer en ironies en tref die kind so diep dat dit voel of sy van voor haar geboorte die hartseer gevoel het. So the irony of like, when you look at me, I'm not in your eyes. You're not looking at me. You're not seeing me. You're not loving me. And it feels so strong and hits her so hard that it feels as if she's never been wanted. And I mean, we know that feeling, the pain of rejection. When you're in that pain, it feels like it's always ever been that pain, you know? When you go behind the door hating of your parents because they're being absolutely awful, it feels like that's just who they are at that moment. You can't remember in that moment how nice they felt. So, I mean, that could be another interpretation of this poem. But I think that she goes to such effort to explain her understanding of the conception and pregnancy and all of that. Right, let's see how you cope with some questions. Beantwoord die volgende twee vrae oor die betekenis van die gedig. What does betekenis mean? Okay. Meaning, yes. Beteken means mean. Betekenis, meaning. First, kies die korrekte antwoord. Skryf slegs die vraagnommer en letter in jou antwoordboek neer. Die spreker beweer dat sy geweet het dat sy 'n ongewenste kind was. What is the correct answer? Tell me when you think you know it. Dis B. Die spreker beweer dat sy voor sy nog gebore is, geweet het dat sy 'n ongewenste kind is.
What does ongewenste mean?
What does wens mean?
Wish.
And on?
Like, oh, so like unwished for.
Unwanted, yes, good.
Unwanted, okay.
Remember to go to the root word, hey? When you see these long words and you think, what is it? Firstly, you can start off by going, I know on is negative, that means un. And can I find the root word? It's obviously not the ch or the sta, wens. Oh, I know what that means. In fact, when you see these long words with prefixes and suffixes and Afrikaans, be glad. Go like, okay, hello, long word, I can totally figure you out. You're going to have simple little root words in you. Haal 'n versdeel aan om jou antwoord in vraag 6.1.1 te motiveer. So quote a line from the poem to motivate your answer. Can you find it, Aiton? That's so voor sy nog gebore is.
Voor tydse tyd.
Yes, van voor tydse tyd. Ja, dis reg, reël 7. If they say haal dit aan, don't just say reël 5 of reël 7, hey? Yeah. Haal dit aan. Quote it. Quote it. Die titel behoort te wees Ek kan nie mamma sê nie. The title ought to be Ek kan nie mamma sê nie, right? Wat noem jy dit as 'n digter die woordorde van 'n sin omruil? What do you call it when a poet switches the words in a sentence? That's a difficult word. I mean, it's a difficult one. Some of you may or may not have learned it with this poem. Have you heard of inversion? Inversie. Inversion. And if you Have you got an Emily Dickinson poem this year? But you got Cummings, eh? Yeah, Cummings, Dickinson, the modernists and post-World War II poets played a lot with that inversion. Inversie. Hoekom, dink jy, het die digter die woordorde omgeruil? So inversion works similarly, not the same, but similarly to active and passive voice. So in the leidende vorm, in die bedrijvende vorm, in the active voice, it's the subject that takes the attention. The subject verbs the object. And in the leidende vorm, the passive voice, it's the attention comes on the object. And the same thing happens with inversion, right? Dit beklemtoon die woord wat jy voor sit. So if you simply said om die woord mama te beklemtoon of dit beklemtoon die woord mama, you'd get the correct. Dit beklemtoon die woord mama, want sy kan dit nie sê nie. And if you were answering this as a first language, then you would have to discuss why they would do that. And it's to emphasize the pain and the ongoing heartache that she experiences by not having that kind of nurturing, loving relationship with her mother, a mother that never wanted her and still doesn't look at her with love. Wat 'n soort gedig? Mama, kan ek nie sê nie? Wat 'n soort gedig? If I tell you 'n gedig word ook 'n vers genoem?
'n vrye vers.
Vrye vers, yes. Vrye vers. Verwys na versreëls 1 tot 4. Refer to lines 1 to 4. Weet vir die spreker se ma besluit dat sy 'n kind moes hê. Besluit means? Besluit?
Decide.
Decide, yes. Who decided for the mother
Dat
she must have a child?
die engel.
Die engel. Die engel het vir my besluit. Yes. Hoe sou die spreker se ma se lewe moontlik anders gewees het as sy self die besluit kon neem? How would the mother's life possibly have been different if she could have taken that decision herself? Sy sou nie 'n kind gehaat het nie. Verduidelik in jou eie woorde wat die spreuke in versreëls 5 tot 7 bedoel. I want you all to have a crack at that. Explain in your own words what the speaker means in lines 5 to 7. Okay, can I hear some antwoorde?
Dit beteken dat sy nie die tyd voor sy was gebore weet nie.
Dat sy nie kon geweet het van dinge voor sy nog gebore is. But there's something about you leaving out line 5 in that explanation, right? Hulle sê 'n mens kan nie dinge weet voordat jy nog gebore is. Iets soos dit. As jy nog in jou ma se maag is of as jy 'n fetus is. 6.6. Wat is die funksie van die dubbelpunt aan die einde van versreël 9? 'n Verduideliking gaan volg. Ja, dit dui aan dat daar 'n verduideliking. V-E-R-D-U-I-D-E-L-I-K-I-N-G. 'n Verduideliking is an explanation. Dit wys dat 'n verduideliking gaan volg. Wat bedoel die spreuke as sy in versreëls 11 en 12 sê, is ek nie in jou oor nie? What's your answer there, Aiton? What would you say?
Oh, I just said that, like, I don't know how to say it in Afrikaans, but like the mom like looks at her child but doesn't see her, like doesn't love her.
Okay, so try and
Yeah.
write the mother doesn't love her child in Afrikaans. Just try and write that as simply as that. Remember, you don't have to have this is first additional language. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you answer simply Really, really simplify your language. You don't have to have the eloquence and vocabulary of a 18-year-old Afrikaans speaker to even get an A in FA also. So simplify that in that. How would you say her mother doesn't love her?
Haar ma is nie lief vir haar nie.
Perfect. You get your mark. Haar ma het haar nie lief nie. Haar ma het haar nie lief vir haar nie. Is nie lief vir haar nie. Haar ma wou haar nie hê nie. Any of that. Well done for focusing all the way to the end, and well done for investing some time in your future marks. It's gonna pay off. If you'd love us to keep creating free content that's relevant to your matric exams, not just Afrikaans gedigte, we do have other subjects and other topics coming up. Please like and subscribe and share this with all your friends. And don't forget to follow us on all our socials. The details are in the description below.